Hi everybody, hi and welcome to Money's Inspired Creations. I am Money and this is my channel. Please do like, subscribe, share the button, comment down below. If you comment, I swear I will reply as soon as I can. Okay, so tonight's conversation is going to be about breaking free from old patterns. And the video I posted the other day did talk about triggers. And that was in the 10 things they don't tell you about spiritual awakening. And I did talk about triggers. So breaking free from old patterns has a lot to do with triggers. And it has a lot to do with soul work. And it's really difficult, especially if this pattern that you wind up finding yourself on in life, if it stems from like ancestral karma, that makes it even more difficult to get rid of, because you have your whole family that literally didn't take care of this. The karma could have been based hundreds of years ago to thousands of years ago, yet someone in every single line in your family till it got to you. Nobody put in the work to clear that karma, and now it's falling on your shoulders to be the one to break it. Sucks to be you. Does it though? Does it really? Maybe in the moment, if you get caught up in it, why do I have to go through this? Why do I have to work through this? Why me? Right? I'm sure we've all had those moments or those thoughts. It's happened to me. It's happened to me quite often, actually, over the years. But what can I say? We're each here now for a reason. Literally, Mother Earth, Gaia, whatever you want to call her. I like calling her Gaia. But Mother Earth, Gaia, the entire planet is going through a spiritual awakening right now. We are literally moving from third dimensional consciousness into the fifth dimensional consciousness. So we're going from like here to here. Okay, we're bypassing the fourth dimension. Like the fourth dimension is like whoosh, on our way to the fifth dimension. It's the movement. And before Gaia is completely in the fifth dimension, there's going to be this transition period. And we're currently in that transition period. You can have thoughts from the fifth dimension. You can act the way you are from the fifth dimension. Or you can act like you're from the third dimension. Just business as usual. Same old, same old. How you react in a situation can also show you if you're living in the third dimensional reality or if you're living in the fifth dimensional reality. And again, this is consciousness. This is energy, the ebb and the flow. The tides, the movement. Okay, we are literally moving as a planet into this new reality. And to get there, we're going to go through all sorts of things if you haven't already. And if you're just starting off, awakening to this, maybe because during COVID-19 and shelter in place, you've decided to go into this energy of hermit mode, which the energy of the hermit mode is when you hermit, you recluse, you bring your energy back into yourself, you take time away. You separate from the rest of reality around you, and your thoughts begin to go back to you. I have pain in this area of my life. I feel unsatisfied in that area of my life. Bringing that energy back to yourself. Hermiting. Taking the time to feel the energy. Not making a move either way. movement forward, movement, no, you're just keeping it still, relaxing, flowing, but at a relaxed state as your mind processes the information. So how do we break free from old patterns? It can start by going into this hermit energy, because when you're in this hermit mode, you can start to work on the things that trigger you, because as you get into this energy of the hermit, you're going to start looking at things from other perspectives. You're going to have a more open mind to different situations. 3D mind versus the 5D mind. That look down, you know, the bird's eye view. You're looking down at your life, at everything that you've been through. Small situations, big situations. You're looking at it all at once. And as you're doing that, you're seeing it from multiple different vantage points, multiple different viewpoints, multiple different realities. You're seeing why you got upset in a situation that before you're in the situation, you're a part of it. You're like, oh, this is upsetting. Why am I going through with this? It's pull out the hair, you know, yank it out. But now that you're in the hermit mode, you're looking down, you know, from a higher perspective. You're like, I was irritated because this person did this. But as you're in this energy, you can start to look at it and see everything that happens to you, like I said, from a different perspective. But when you start to see it from a different perspective, you realize that everything around you is a mirror. And I'm not talking about like, oh, look at me, reflection in the mirror. No, I'm talking about people, situations. They are all a mirror for you. Every person that you come in contact with is a mirror. So how you're acting in any given situation, somebody else that you come in contact with is going to take that energy and mirror it back to you. So if you are going out into the world irritated, pissed off at life, you're going to find you have a lot of people that are giving you that energy back. Either they're irritated and pissed off, or they're treating you like shit. You know, if you put that energy out into the world, it's going to come back at you. But if you put it out into the world, calm, peace, serenity, joy, love, laughter. Doesn't matter the situation that can happen to you. Even if somebody starts treating you like shit, if you're putting it out into the universe, a certain energy like this positive mindset, this I'm okay. Nothing can faze me. And it doesn't matter what's coming at you. You know, it's like hitting a wall. And you're like, damn straight, it's hitting a wall. So when you get to that point, you've broken free from the cycle. But it's not easy. Because before you can get to this point, you know, here's a trigger coming at you, and you're like, shields up. Not happening, not today, boy, bye. Or girl, bye, whatever. Don't matter. Before you can get to that point, you have to figure out what your triggers are. And if you don't know what your triggers are, you're going to have a long road ahead of you. And everybody goes through it. No, it's not easy. Nobody just wakes up, bam, look at me, I'm an enlightened. No. Nobody. Just everybody has had to work through it. Every single person. Those ascended masters. In a previous video, I talked about religion. And in religion, you have Jesus Christ. Well, he's an ascended master. Okay? He's walked the spiritual journey. You think he just woke up one day and was, I am an enlightened individual? No. He didn't. He had to walk the path. He had to walk the journey. Each journey is different. Everybody's journey is different. It might have taken him a shorter time than somebody else. Time's irrelevant. Time doesn't exist. It's an illusion. But he still had to walk his path. Everybody has to walk their path. So, your path at the beginning is you're first starting out on your spiritual journey. You're going to have your ups and downs. Possibly more downs than up. Not gonna lie. It's most definitely more downs than up. Especially when, you start opening up to new things and seeing things from different perspectives. That's when it's like this 3-dimensional matrix just starts coming at you. I like to think that there's bots, like robots. Have you seen The Matrix? If you haven't seen The Matrix, just go watch it, because we're living in a matrix. Everything around us that we know to be true is because somebody else told us that that's true. In school, they hand you a book and they say, you read this book because this is the truth. You go to another country, they hand you a different book and say, this is the truth. We're in a matrix that has been programmed by these elite people. People, not just in government. Government's only one tier, okay? Even the most powerful government members, whether it be the president, the queen, prime minister, it don't matter. In all honesty, they're figureheads, because there is a group above them that really makes the decisions on how they want the world to run. And some people are going to be like, okay, you've just gone too far. I haven't, though. I haven't even begun to get into it. And I'm not going to in this video. But there are this group of elites above government that they have their hands in everything, controlling. It's like they're moving their players around on the chessboard. And you, me, we're all the pawns. That's why they think they can just make us disappear, get rid of us. Anybody who has a belief that's not the mainstream, they try and silence you, right? Some of you may be a part of social media groups that have been shut down because, oh my, you're not following with this mainstream. You're critical thinking. You're thinking on your own. Oh no, we can't have that. You're not programmed. What is television programming? Programming. Everything is energy, is it not? Does your brain not emit a frequency? Right? Programming. To program you as you're watching the TV. And don't tell me it's not true. How many of you will sit in front of your Netflix, binge watch season after season after season? Time doesn't exist. It slips away from you. Unless you have something important that you have to do. Zombie. In that time, your brain is being programmed. Slightly off topic. That's okay. I go with spirit. I go with the flow. If spirit is asking me to talk about it, I'm going to talk about it. It's also part of a trigger. You know, that's what we're talking about. Putting an end to old patterns. And the three-dimensional matrix, I'd say it's a big pattern that we're all breaking free of. Some faster than the others. Some have come into this life awakened and, you know, living in this world but not of the world. So that they're here, but they're not from here. They're not a part of it. They're just here. They're living with it rather than being in it. That's a part of breaking free of it. You know, unplug from the matrix. Think for yourself. A big trigger some people have is anybody who is not a part of the matrix. When they start to talk and be like, oh, that person's crazy. Yeah. We got to stay away from that because of program. Got to break free. Going back to the ancestral line of karma. How do you recognize that? How do you feel in certain situations? You got to constantly be asking you these things. Anytime that you feel a negative emotion or that you want to react in a negative way, that's an opportunity for healing. That's an opportunity to do some shadow work and to look at why. You know, I've talked about this in a past video about shadow work, triggers, and looking through it. And you really need to. When something is irritating to you, there's a reason for that. If you don't look at it in that moment, it might go away. It might. However, it's going to be coming up again. Maybe not in the same situation, maybe not with the same people, but it'll come up again. One of the biggest patterns that comes up from the people that I've met and from what I've seen online or read, relationship issues is a big one. My own experience too. You know, the problems that you have in your interactions with others. You know, sometimes you think you've got it solved. You talk through it. It's good. Great. And then a couple months down the road, bam, it pops back up in your face like, look at me. It's here. The problem is still there. It still exists. And you're still triggered by it. And if you don't heal through that, you go like from one relationship into the next, thinking all's good. And then you're noticing it's the same types of things going on. But why? Why are you repeating these types of behaviors, these types of cycles? Why are you experiencing life with these different people? They're completely different people, but it's like similar situations. They're the same person, but in different people. And I'm using relationship as an example because it's the easiest one for me to relate to. And I also feel like it's the easiest one for others to relate to as well. I mean, how many of you have been in a relationship with somebody who was, let's say, verbally abusive, right? Have you been in a relationship with someone who was verbally abusive to you? They called you names. They put you down. They told you weren't good enough. And then you go from that relationship, you're like, forget that person. You go on to your next relationship, and it's the same thing. At first, they seem nice. They seem like they're a good person. You seem like, oh my gosh, this is the person for me. And then you get that same thing. But maybe instead of the verbal abuse, maybe this time it's mental or emotional. It's that abuse that's there, right? So you get rid of that person, you go to the next one, and on and on and on. You see, it's that cycle. It's continuing, this pattern going from the one to the other, to the other, to the other. And there's still this traumatic situation, this abuse. It's still there. It never went away. It's just been recycled. And why has it been recycled? Because it's part of your karma. And it might not necessarily be your karma. That's the thing. It could literally be your ancestral karma. And how are you going to know? Well, take a look at your life, If you take a look at your life, are you a good person? Do you treat others with respect? Are you kind to everybody? Or are you rude? Are you manipulative? If you answer, yeah, I have been rude, I have been manipulated to people, it's possible it is part of your karma. But if you're one of those good people where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't catch a break. All these bad things keep happening to me. Why is it happening to me? If you're one of those people, then you are probably dealing with some heavy ancestral karma that nobody before you has worked through. Whether they tried to or not, they didn't. And so now it's like a gift. Have the karma, have it on your shoulders, work through it, please work through it. Guy is going through this transition, so work through it because nobody before you did. And it's got to be released and let go of so that you can go ahead and advance to the fifth dimension. You could be there consciously, and you could be living there, and not just consciously, in your everyday life, in the fifth dimension, with the world around you. So, if you've been handed this lovely bundle of ancestral karma, or even if it is karma of your own making, when you start recognizing the patterns, what is similar about this situation? That I've experienced something similar in the past. What are the similarities? What are different? When you start asking the questions, why? How can I change? Where did I go wrong? What do I need to learn from this? How can I learn from this? What can I do more? Again, you start going down these levels back into your chakras, your meridians, your energy meridians, and finding where that trauma really lies. Let's take the relationship issue here. So if you have been in a physically, verbally, mentally, emotionally abusive relationship with somebody, or even multiple, one person could be one type of abusive, or they can be all four or more. It doesn't matter. Just depends on how much it's triggering you. If it keeps coming up, whether it be in a physical way, a mental, emotional, something else I can't think of right now, spiritual. That too. If it keeps coming up, don't look at it as, why is this happening to me? Accept that it's happening to you. And use that to your advantage. Once you accept that, yes, this has happened to me multiple times, different situations with different people, then you can start to heal from it, because you've now accepted that, yes, this is something that is stemming from me. Remember, everybody is a mirror for you. So if everybody is there mirroring something back to you, then that person who is abusing you is mirroring this abuse back to you. So they're giving you this abuse. They're the ones abusing you, right? And at first you have this victim mentality, like, this is happening to me. Why is it happening to me? Get it away. But if you look at it from a higher perspective, analyze it, study it, hold it, whatever you need to do, when you're observing it, you're able to recognize that their actions are reflecting them. But what they are doing to you can also be a reflection of what is missing, what is lacking within you. Now, when you go further, you realize you lack of nothing, right? But in these moments, these moments where your triggers come up, where these abuse happens, there's that inner child within you that feels like it's missing something. And maybe this abuse that you've experienced throughout the years stems from something traumatic that happened in childhood. Why did it happen in childhood? Right? You're a child, you're an innocent. So why? Why did it happen? It could be as simple as being mistreated. It could be a hell of a lot worse, though. Depends on the person. It depends on what happened in their childhood. It depends also how deep you want to go, how deep you want to dig. When you start digging, it might not be pretty. It probably isn't pretty. But there's a child within you, that innocence, that has been severely hurt. And that's why these patterns of behavior continue, is because that inner child within you is still hurt. And until you can find your inner child, now it might be difficult to find your inner child. You might think, okay, it's going to be in my heart. My inner child, it has to be there. It might not be. It could be in multiple areas. It could be in every energy meridian. If it's in every energy meridian, you're going to have a lot of work to do. Because you're going to have to work through each energy part of your body. But when you find your inner child, just tell them it's okay. Tell them you love them. Tell them they're good enough. Tell them they're worth it. Tell them they're amazing. You know? If you were a child, remember back when you were a child. Did you want to please your parents? Did you want to please other people? Yeah, I'll do it because I want you want me to do it. I'll do it. Yes, I'll do it. Right? That mentality, right? So Your inner child is still that. Your inner child is just a child. So love your inner child. Love yourself. Accept that some shitty things have happened to you throughout your life. Because everybody's had shitty things happen to them. There's not a single person I've ever met that hasn't had something bad happen to them as they were growing up. I mean, your inner child can be 18, your inner child can be 20. They don't have to be 2, 3, 4. And most people experience this traumatic childhood event around the ages of like 8 to 9 though. Because that's when you truly are starting to remember and to understand. And for other people, it's before, especially if it was super traumatic. But for the most part, many people have this traumatic experience between 8 and 9. And so you have that like 8 or 9-year-old that's within you, that's weeping, that's crying, that's in pain. And when this inner child is in pain, that manifests into your daily lives, into different situations. When you're not okay in here, then your external world is going to reflect it back to you. Because if you're not okay on the inside, then one, you're not going to think that you deserve something more on the outside. And so your world is going to be shitty on the outside. You know, because it's like, I'm not good enough. I can't achieve it. I let everybody down. This is happening to me. I deserve it. You know, that mentality, you know, it brings you down. But once you start to recognize that that's a pattern, and you also recognize that you can break that pattern, you'll realize that you can overcome it. And you're going to be able to overcome it, you know, you're going to be able to overcome it by figuring out what triggered you in the first place. And I know I used relationships as the big, you know, metaphor here. It doesn't have to be a couple relationship. We have relationships with everybody. Anybody you come in contact with, if you're talking to them at that moment, it's a relationship, the way you react or act to each other. You're relating to each other by talking. So when you're able to find the triggers and take deep breaths, realize I found the trigger, and ask the questions. Why, how, what, you know. Can even ask, when did that abuse first take place? Once you start taking these steps, then you can recognize the patterns of behavior and change them. And once you're consciously aware of the karmic imbalances in your life, of these cyclic patterns, then you can heal from them, work through them, and let them go. Because once you're consciously aware of it, you know, the universe is already flowing you to another level. You're already going. So now's the time. If you have anything that still bothers you, like really, really bothers you, person you can't stand, someone that makes you feel like shit, now's the time to ask yourself those questions of, why do I feel that way? And go down the ladder, down into yourself. Because when you do that, and you work through it, and you heal it, you do the soul work, you're gonna live a more joyous life all around. Hi, Luna. And with the cat booty in the way, I think that will be all for tonight. I love you guys. Please do like, subscribe, share if you like the video, comment down below, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Bye!